Central Coast with Bear McGill and Lori Smoot. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Always love coming in and talking with you, Randy. You guys do such a fantastic job here with What's Up North County, and I've just seen how you've grown. What an amazing job you guys have done
Thank
here
you.
with North
How we
County.
try. There's so much stuff going on in the North County that we need to know about, people need to know about and get involved. And so it's not one of those, I wish I would have known. So we try to bring everything out that's happening in the North County.
Yeah, if you don't know what's going on in North County, you're not watching What's Up North County. And I tell you, you better start watching What's Up North County.
That's right. Yeah. Speaking of that, make sure you guys like and subscribe so then that way you guys can be a part of the action and know when we go live and we post stuff like this with Honor Flight Central Coast. So Bear, first let me start with you. What is Honor Flight Central Coast? Tell me about what this organization is.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what Honor Flight is, not just Honor Flight North County. Honor Flight started back in 2005. Earl Morris, a physician assistant working with World War II veterans. World War II memorial finally gets completed in about 2005. And Earl's talking to these veterans, asking them, hey, are you going to go down to Washington to see your memorial? Well, he had this one vet said he would love to go, but he just couldn't afford it. So Earl went out and found 12 pilots and 6 small planes, and he went back to this veteran and told him, hey, I'm taking you to Washington, D.C., and it's not going to cost you a dime. And this veteran just started bawling. And they flew a group of World War II veterans down to the World War II memorial so they could see this memorial. And that's how Honor Flight started. Finally made it out here to the Central Coast in 2014. We got our hub started. And since then, we've taken over 824 veterans free of charge back to Washington, D.C., as we call it, their tour of honor. So they can see their memorials, get the recognition they never got, honor the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and
That's amazing.
Just to get, and healing. That's the one thing, when we started, is about the recognition, getting the welcome home, because they never got that welcome home.
Right.
But as I've done these trips, and I see these men and women go to the different memorials, and to see the healing that happens while they're at those memorials, it's just amazing. A World War II guy goes up to the pillar at World War II Memorial, the Guam pillar, puts his hand up there and just starts bawling. And I thought, oh, he must have lost a lot of buddies there. Well, come to find out a couple years later, that's where his brother had died, on Guam. And he was so thankful that there was a pillar there in remembrance of the men and women who died on Guam. And that was a healing moment for him. And he was kind of skeptical about going on this trip and just real, standoffish. But after he went there, he changed. I mean, he calls me when we get back, says, hey, I'd like to go up to the Paso Cemetery on Memorial Day and talk about Honor Flight with other veterans, get them to go on this trip. And I'm like, wow, would love to do that.
That's awesome.
I
mean, it's such a great organization and everything that you guys do. And Bear, I know you've been on several of the flights.
Oh yeah, I can't even count how many I've been on.
So Lori, tell me a little bit about your history. You got Sherman legacy, part of the Arnold Flight Central Coast. Veteran, pilot. I mean, so tell me about that story.
Well, back in 2022, shortly before Sherm passed. Actually, his last flight was taking a group of veterans. A friend from Honor Flight gave a call to Sherm and said, we have veterans that will not make their tour of honor this next year. They're not taking flights back, and this was due to COVID. So they said, we have some that will not be able to make it. Is there any way we can get you to take them up in Betsy the Biscuit Bomber? And Sherm said he was honored. He said absolutely. He, being a veteran of the Vietnam War, his father was a veteran of the Korean War, and also his father was a veteran of the World War II. So wow. Sherm was very, very honored to do that. So we had 17 veterans on Betsy on D-Day. I'm sorry, it was not D-Day. It was actually August 20. I think it was in August.
Okay.
I think it was the 27th, and he passed September 2nd. So this was his last full flight. It was taking veterans on Betsy. So anyway, for me, it's about continuing that passion that he had for the veterans, being that he was third generation military. And Sherman would cry every time he'd see them on the airplane. He would think of, number one, the young gentlemen in World War II. They were in a C-47 flying across the Atlantic, not knowing how to get there other than a compass, or what they had at the time, kids that had no clue of what they were doing. It's a very moving experience to have veterans on Betsy and to share that with her. So I am continuing his passion.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes. So.
And I'm sure he was very involved with it.
Yes.
As his passion was flying. And so the Betsy bomber, they also flew that back to Normandy, right?
Yes.
So this was the whole anniversary.
Yes. So now D-Day is the anniversary. Sherman took Betsy back with a crew of 5. It took them 2.5 months. They flew Betsy back with 14 other C-47 and DC-3s to Normandy, and did the same path they would do, taking the young kids in World War II, flying over to over the Atlantic, over to Duxford, and then over across into Normandy for the invasion.
Such a crazy. So you look at that plane, and we got to be out there a few years back and talk with some of the pilots, and you don't look like this thing can get off the ground, but the way that it's made.
Betsy is low and slow. She is amazing. We flew her quite a few times up to Cody, Wyoming, for the Cody Gun Museum. Had Betsy they sponsored Betsy to actually go back to Normandy. So the only thing they had to do was return and fly into Cody, Wyoming for the Cody, Wyoming rodeo, and fly every night for 5 nights over the rodeo. So that's what they did. I met them up there, and I can tell you, flying home in Betsy from Cody back here with those guys, they were so excited to be coming back after 2.5 months. And we landed at Paso Robles Airport with a huge crowd that knew that Betsy was coming back from her trip to Normandy. So Betsy also is the veteran. So this was her 2nd trip.
Well, you think about the spectacular vision, the sight to see Betsy in the air.
Oh yeah.
And
the sound.
The sound of it. And you can't stop but be mesmerized by this massive machinery built in what year?
Sherman was 2 years younger than Betsy when they flew. So Sherman was 74 and Betsy was 77.
Oh my gosh.
Or 76.
Think about the manpower that went into that and that technology back there. Now you guys do like flights where people can buy and pay and go up on the flights over there at Estrella?
We're not really doing that. If someone makes a donation to the Goonie Bird Group, which is Betsy's organization, they can get it's only $1,600 for an hour, and actually you only get about 45 minutes because a lot of that is starting up, warming the motors up, getting it ready to take off. So yes, but no, you can go out and you can donate a trip. So basically what I do is I have Betsy fly the veterans early on D-Day. Every single D-Day, the veterans will show up at 10:15 a.m. They will sign their paperwork, get on the plane. They will start warming up the motors, take off, and they will be getting up to the runway, running up the motors, taking off just about 11, and then flying for about 45 minutes. They will go over to the coast. They will go over the piers where there's veterans on both Cayucas and Cambria piers. They will fly over there, and then they'll buzz around. If the weather isn't good at the coast, usually Captain Shane says, hey, does anybody want to go over their house? They'll because a lot of the vets live right there around the airport, so they'll cruise around their houses and then come back. So it's about 45 minutes in the air. And then when they return, we have a nice lunch for them and their immediate families right there at the museum in Hangar 1.
Wow. What an awesome experience.
Yes.
And it's funny because we were at the car show not too long ago that you guys are the parachuters were jumping out. And some of these guys they flew from across the world
Yes.
to come and jump from the plane.
Yes.
And had it been, some of them were in maybe not that exact plane, but a similar
Yes.
plane
Yes.
that they haven't been in, what, 50 years?
Right. Yeah.
So what an amazing experience.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. That's the all. I can't remember the names, but anyway, they are the all airborne. So they're from all over the U.S. And we actually took some of them up to Pendleton to jump in a because Pendleton is where they started the smoke jumpers. And so I was able to fly up in Betsy. We actually had them jump out of Betsy up in Pendleton. They got two jumps a day for 3 days. And
What an amazing experience.
again, it was cathartic for them to be in like minds. Number one, with people that understood what they had gone through during their experiences in the war, and the fact that they were coming back together and had someone that they could speak to about what they were going through. And that for me is very, very important, to bring them together.
Absolutely. Barrett, let me ask you about Honor Flight Central Coast. This is free to veterans.
Absolutely.
And then there is a chaperone that pays their own way
Yep.
to go if somebody, and everybody's eligible.
Everybody's
Everybody's
eligible. You know,
eligible for
when it started with the World War II guys. And then they said, well, we need to add the Korean guys. And then it was like, well, we need to do the Vietnam guys. Well, then, you know, other hubs started asking National, well, what about the men and women who served between the wars? Don't they deserve to go? They were willing to sacrifice their life as well. And so National says, absolutely. So we don't care who you are. If you served this country, you wrote a check to give up your life for this country, and you deserve to go on this trip. And we want to take you. So we just need you to get yourself signed up so we can take you. You know.
How does people do that? Is there a waiting list for this?
Well, we do have a waiting list. I think we have like 250 people on the list right now. And so we do charter flights. Right now we're doing one a year out of Santa Maria under Allegiant Airlines. And we take usually about 75 veterans per trip. And like you said, each veteran needs to have a guardian. And so it could be a family member. We have veterans that don't have anybody to go. And we have what we call community guardians that are willing to pay their own way to go with these veterans. And recently we've been having a lot of first responders, Paso PD, San Luis PD, Sheriff's Department, CAL FIRE. You know, a lot of these guys that are first responders are veterans themselves. And their unions are willing to pay for their guys and girls to go as guardians for a veteran, which is just awesome to put, you know, these young veterans with these older veterans on a trip. It's just amazing to see the bond that they create.
Well, it's funny to talk to, you know, some of the old time veterans, even the new veterans, you know, and to hear them kind of communicate between each other of the time that they had, you know, back 30, 40, 50 years ago to these soldiers that are coming out now within the last 10 years. You know, it's the technology, everything is completely different, and their experience was much, much harder than, you know, some of the guys that are coming out now. You know, you think about the rations and, you know, you're hearing the stories of, you know, walking around in the same wet boots for, you know, days upon days.
Yeah.
So you get to hear those stories, which was probably for you an experience to listen to these guys talk.
Oh, I can tell you that it's amazing to listen to these men and women when they're talking about their service. You know, it's just the stories they tell is jaw dropping. And what's funny is you're sitting there and they're talking about things, and their family member had no clue. And to watch the family member go, Dad, Mom, you never talked about that. You know, how come we're just now hearing about this? And it's because they're with other veterans. And when you get them with other veterans, they start talking.
It's like your old football team.
Yeah.
Getting together in the locker room talking.
Absolutely.
You know, all those memories come back again.
They do. They absolutely do. And it's just an awesome experience. And the community guardians that sign up to go, like I said, they create a bond with their veteran, and they stay in touch with their veteran. It's just amazing to watch.
So, Bear, are you only doing one flight a year because of lack of like money to? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'd like to go every single month.
Well, we would like to go, and what we found was trying to put two big trips together a year. We were struggling with getting the flights full, believe it or not. Um, we would have veterans sign up, and then there was a medical issue, or they would just back out at the last minute, which left open seats. And so we thought, and I mean, it's a lot of work to put these flights together. And we're a very small board. And I'll tell you, I've got a great board. They really worked their butt off to put these flights together. And I could see a few of them were starting to get a little frustrated and tired. And I'm like, hey, you know what, guys? Let's just back off for a couple years and let's just do one flight a year. Make sure we get the flight full. And so that's what we've done. Eventually, we want to get back to doing two flights a year, where we're doing one in the spring, one in the fall. And, you know, because we want to get every veteran that we can back there.
Does the traveling wall, is that something? Because I know it came out here to the West Coast 2 years ago.
It's been out here twice now.
Okay, is that something that is an annual thing, or is it just based on their travel path?
I think it's based on who contacts them to bring the wall to their area.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure if the wall will be back here, but it's a pretty good replica of the wall that's in D.C. Not as big, but it's still
It's pretty massive.
pretty massive. Yeah, and
And it has every name on
it
there.
has every name that's on the wall in Washington D.C.
And the interesting fact was it starts from the outer to the inside for the for the names.
Well, actually, what I found out was when you're down at the bottom, that first panel at the very top, that first name is the first person that died in Vietnam, and then it goes down and out.
So it goes down and out.
It goes down and out.
But what I really liked about that was the story that they walked around the trailer, and they got to, you know, we as a viewing group got to walk this trailer with them and experience every path of the conflicts.
Oh yeah.
You know, with a tour guide, and I mean, not having any combat experience or anything like that, but you know, knowing people and how passionate we are with, you know, veterans and military, and I mean, I don't know how many times I teared up or tried not to. Let's put it that way. You know, walking around there and then just seeing the people around that were part of that experience. You know, there was a gentleman that was standing next to me. He's like looking at, I think it was the last one where they got the drop in Vietnam with their, you know, their packs of their rations and some cigarettes and stuff like that. And he's just sitting there he was talking to the guy next to us about that exact drop that he got, and it was just so interesting to listen to these guys. And then we got to talk to the guys and some of the veterans on our show and they opened up, you know,
Yeah.
and just spilled everything. And it was just amazing to be able to talk to them.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, on one of our trips, we had two veterans that didn't know each other. You know, they were talking in front of the Iwo Jima Memorial, find out that they're both in country at the same time, talking about, you know, what was your job? And the one guy says, well, I was a combat guy, and the other guy, I was a senior air controller. And the combat guy goes, what was your handle? And he says, Joyride. And the combat guy looks at his buddy he's with, and he goes, this man saved my life. And come to find out, they were pinned down in a firefight, and they called for air support. And this is the guy that took the call that sent the jets. And the combat guy says, I remember laying there, seeing these jets come overhead, and the bombs rolling out, and all I can think of is, boy, I hope they make the tree line. And he said they do. And he tells all his guys, if we find out who these pilots are tonight, none of them are buying a drink. They're all on us. And it wasn't until, you know, a couple years later when we took him on this honor flight that he met the man that sent those jets. You know, the funny thing about the story is they both came home, both became attorneys, lived less than 5 miles apart in Napomo,
Oh,
but
really?
they drive the same make and model car. Now, unfortunately, Bob, the senior air controller, he passed away about 6 months ago. But it's those type of stories that you find when you go on these trips. One veteran, he's at the Vietnam Wall, 47 rubbings. He had 47 names that he knew on that wall.
Wow.
And he wanted to get one of every one of those names, and he did. And he was an instructor. You know, it's stuff like that that you see and hear, and it just really gets you. Like you said, tearing up. Every time I'm at that wall or wherever, and I see a veteran start to tear up, I tear up. You know, and it's just.
Well, you know, and we're really fortunate to live in an area that is so military, so, you know, patriotic, so, you know, everybody, the community is so giving, you know, such as we got Pour Fest coming up June 6th. You got all these wineries and all these organizations that want to be a part of it. So, you know, and that's got to make you feel great, Lori.
It does. It
So
does.
as well as carrying on Sherman's legacy of what he has started and continuing on with that.
Yeah, Sherman was a character. Unbeknownst to me, because I was out working my job, and you know, in the afternoons he would take off on his scooter and go around town. And he'd find his friends, and he'd sit down and buy them lunch. And he'd run into all the winemakers and their families. I mean, we've all raised our kids together, and you know, he was always the one that stood out and you know, made a little fun for everyone. And he was quite the character. His lifestyle was fast and pretty fun, and people just were attracted to him. And so many of my friends that are in the industry still, every time they see me, the first thing they say is, "Gosh, we miss Sherman," and I know, because he gave them all. He would take some of the guys up; they'd be out flying around in his T-28, and he'd take them out tree topping and doing some fun things over that you know, we're not quite legal. He'd sneak up on people's houses up in the hills, a couple of the wineries, you know, and they'd be out there at the pool, and all of a sudden here he'd come just zooming up over their house, very safely. He was a very
Very
good
safely,
pilot.
might we add.
Yes, in a safe way. Yes, because I was in the back seat, and he knew I'd bump him on the head if he wasn't.
So he flew one of the planes that you'd always see at the different parades and everything, right? Mm-hmm. So which one did he fly?
When you say parade,
Like when they do the flyover with the Navy and
yes. Well, he mostly was racing at Reno Air Races. So
Okay.
he started that in 1990 in the AT-6, and then he moved up to the Russian Yak, and he raced for almost 30 years with the same crew, the same owner, and the checkmate was based over in Shafter, and that's where the race plane lived, and we would always go over there for him to do the flights. But all the flying that he did around here was the T-28 and the T-34, and then also we have a J3 Cub. Sorry, it's a J5.
Now, are you a pilot yourself?
I'm a backseater.
You're a backseat pilot.
I'm a backseater, and I do that very well. I've flown Betsy on our way back from Cody, you know, and he'd sit back there in the back and he'd go, "Fly the plane, pick your spot, fly the plane." So no, he was so tired of being in the cockpit, sitting there in some of the planes, because he had almost 40,000 hours flying. So
Wow.
that he rather would enjoy seeing people sitting there and teaching them to fly. A good friend of ours, son, Jake. Stelsley spent quite a bit of time in Betsy with Sherman and Scott and Shane when they would go down to all the air shows in Chino, and Salinas Air Show is an amazing air show, and Jake was always with him, and they'd put him up there in the seat starting when he was about 8, and he would sit in one of the seats the whole time with one of them. So he got quite a bit of flying time in Betsy. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So we've got an event coming up June 6th. So we got the Pour Fest, Sherman's Legacy Wine and Dine.
Wine and dine, yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about this. This is how many years into this?
Well, this is actually going to be the second year we've done it. You know, Lori has gone out and got all these wineries for us to come out and pour their wine for free. I mean, you know, when you think about going out wine tasting, you know, they're charging $30, $40, even some people $50 a tasting. Well, you know, you can come on out to this Pour Fest and, you know, buy a ticket for $100, come out and taste. What do we got? 20 plus wineries going to be
Yeah,
there.
we do. We have quite a few. Some are still tentative because it is graduation night.
A lot of stuff happening that
A
weekend.
lot,
A
June
lot of
6th.
stuff.
Well, but I can't change D-Day.
Right.
D-Day is D-Day, and we're honoring veterans up from that day. But we have Almarosa Winery, Eberly, Thatcher, Bella Luna, Volatus, Bull. I call him Bull. His name is Hal, but Bull was he was out of Reno. He was Blue Angel. So he was a Top Gun guy, and that's his winery, Volatus. Also, we have Bovino, McPrice Myers, Bella Luna, and Hunt Cellars at this time, who have completely committed. So, and there's more to come. Yes, some of the greats. Yes, I'm very excited. So I tried to get Gary Eberly to come out, and he just doesn't travel anymore. So I'll take the second best, which is Chris Eberly, who is not related to Gary Eberly. But
Isn't that
Chris, yes, it is. Well, Chris went to Cal Poly. He was in the studying in his Vint program and working at Eberly, and he actually hired my son to work there. So that's where my son got his second job after Bella Luna. So Chris Eberly and my son are best friends and have been ever since they'd worked together. And Chris is still at Eberly, so he's running the whole show. So
That's
we're excited
awesome.
about that.
So Bear, for the day at Pour Fest, this starts at 5:30.
Absolutely.
5:30, which is also you guys are doing a live auction as well as a silent auction.
Yeah, we have. So not only do we have wine and beer for people to come and enjoy, you got Cal Coast beer, but we have the cattlemen and cattlewomen that are going to put the dinner on for us, and so.
So the barbecue is going to
Oh,
be
the
good.
barbecue's going to be great.
yeah.
When
Awesome.
you get a bunch of cowboys and cow ladies out there, you've got some good food. So
Right.
it'll be a great dinner. We've got a silent auction and live auction items going on. Some of our live auction items we have, like we have 4 tickets to the Skybox at the fair for Howard Jones concert. Mm-hmm. We've got we have 49er tickets that you purchase, you can get and pick what game you want to go to. We have a T-28 plane ride, right? We have a V6 ranch experience where you can go out and stay at the V6 ranch
Out there in Parkfield.
out there in Parkfield and pick what type of ranch experience you want. We've got the Kamati Ranch stay and tour as well, and then we have a seat on Betsy. People can buy a seat to go on the Betsy because we're going to do another flight later in the year. And then we have a sportsman package, which I think is going to be pretty cool. It's a pig hunt guided by 805 Outfitters on Kenny Inney's property. I've got Garrett Roth, who owns his meat company. Can't think of that right now. Dang it.
It's okay.
But he's going to process the meat, and then we have a 7 cubic foot stand-up freezer that's donated by Idlers and Nuno for whoever wins the package to put the meat in. And then we have the A to Z Foundation donating a 270 rifle with a Vortex scope on it.
Wow.
So,
And so these are all the live auctions?
these are all the live auction items that we
That's
have.
great.
So if anybody is interested in any of those packages, buy a ticket, come on out. If you're a hunter and you can't make it, here's my number, 805-610-4012. Call me. I'll be your auctioneer that night as the auction's going on. If you want to bid on it, I'll be happy to put your bid in for you.
Here you go. Give me your number.
Give me your
Give
number.
me your
There you
number.
go.
We'll just keep raising this thing.
Absolutely.
And I might add the V6 ranch is, and when we talk about, this experience, it's not just going out to somebody's, backyard into
No.
their, 100-acre ranch. This is one of the biggest ranches in California, most, historic ranches in California, outside of Parkfield, on the San Andreas Fault. So not only do you have the V6 ranch, but you have the cafe out there. You have the historic hotel that's out there. So when you say experience, this is like walking into the 1800s experience that you're going to have out
Oh,
there.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
And then out there at Kenny's place with the hog
yeah,
hunt.
yeah, and
You're
that's
guaranteed.
that's 2 nights of glamping included in that pig hunt,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
and then like I said, Garrett Roth, I remember his Ranchita Canyon meat company. So he'll process the meat for us, and you just tell him what you want, and he'll do it up for you.
Bear, what does it feel like to have all these these people in the community like really like absorbing and wanting to be a part of what Honor Flight Central Coast is doing?
It's amazing the people. I mean, I got started in this back in 2012 as a guardian for a World War II veteran. And after going on that trip, it really, really changed my life. Knowing what these men and women really sacrificed for all of us to be here and to have the freedoms that we have. And just to see how the public comes together for our veterans is just, it's a great experience to see all these people willing to donate and give, to see our veterans get a free trip, as we call it, their tour of honor back to D.C. It just makes me proud to see our community come together to support our veterans. Like you said, we have a close knit community here, and everybody, they care about our veterans here on the Central Coast, and it just shows by the people that come out and help sponsor and take our veterans back there that doesn't have a guardian, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a great experience.
What's so interesting, and maybe Lori can contest to this, is I mean there's so many wineries out here just in the North County that are veteran owned.
Yeah.
Bella Luna for one. You have Cal Coast Beer, which right there in Paso Robles is veteran owned. But there's so many, like, I would love to know the statistics of like how many wineries just in the North County are veteran owned or brewed or with the winemakers right here in the North County.
Yes. Also, and I apologize, Tolo will also be there, and they are veterans. So,
Yeah.
yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great event. Like I said, we were out there a couple years ago. Some of my most memorable podcasts were out there with some of the gentlemen out there and hearing the stories that you don't get that. Those are the things that the kids, and I really hope that kids nowadays really ask grandma and grandpa questions, and really learn that experience and that history. Because once they're gone, they're gone.
Absolutely.
Those words of wisdom or experiences or anything is gone with them. So
Yeah.
and it was an honor to be able to hear some of these from them.
Okay, so I'm going to, like Bear said, if you are a veteran-owned winery, I would like for you to call me. My number is 805-610-5354. And if you are able to pour the evening of June 6th at 5:30 to 9, I would like for you to contact me. And we'd love to have you there to help honor our vets.
Now, can they can probably go to Honor Flight Central Coast as well to get in contact with people as well?
Absolutely. My number's on our website as well. And that's where you can go purchase tickets too. You can go on honorflightccc.org, then go down and find Pourfest, click on it, and you can purchase tickets right there for the event. We have single tickets, we have a reserved table, we have a Silver Star table, and we have a Medal of Honor table, which so far Melissa Field, she's bought a Medal of Honor table, and that's a $5,000 donation. And then we have 5 Silver Stars, which Atascadero VFW, Post 2814, Atascadero VF Auxiliary Group has bought a Silver Star. Kenny Inney, he's bought a Silver Star table. Ag West Farm Credit, they supporting our veterans, and they came and bought a Silver Star table. And then Catherine Travis has bought a Silver Star table, and that just really helps our donations with getting these veterans back to Washington, D.C. when we have these sponsored tables. It's just amazing to see so many people step up to do that.
When's the next flight?
Next flight's going to be September 16th, 17th, 18th, I think it is. I can't remember the exact dates. Actually, we had to change it from a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because we couldn't get into Arlington Cemetery our normal flight. So we'll get in there on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. So.
And are all these coordinated with other honor flight programs across the country, like to where they all come in?
They're not really coordinated. You just kind of pick your dates as because we're all individual hubs.
Okay.
And so we all have our own way we do our touring, and we really want to make sure our veterans get to go to Arlington to see the changing of the guard. Now, we had set our flight up, and we weren't able to get into Arlington on that. I think it was September 14th, 15th, 16th. And so then we were able to work it out to where, hey, we can get in on Tuesday or on Wednesday. And so we bumped our trip to where we fly out on Monday. We'll go tour on Tuesday, and then we'll be home. I'm sorry. We fly out Tuesday, go to Arlington on Wednesday, and then fly home Thursday.
Wow.
So, because, we want to make sure that the veterans get to see the whole experience. And missing Arlington was really disappointing to some of our board members. And so we were able to work that out.
Awesome. Well, right on, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing a little bit about what you guys have going on with Honor Flight Central Coast and Pour Fest coming up June 6th. So people can get their tickets, $100 for general admission.
Yes.
Or you can pick up a table, a Silver Star package table.
Yep.
And come out and got some great live auctions. And I'm sure there's going to be some great silent auctions.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, there's going to be some great food.
Great food,
great
great wine.
So if anybody has ever bought a tri-tip sandwiches from the Cattlewomen's or Cattlemen's Association of their barbecues, they know they're going to get a treat.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And the other thing is you can come out and try wines from maybe other wineries you've never been to, And
this is going to be at Estrella Warbirds.
At Estrella Warbirds.
Okay.
At Hangar 1,
At
which
Hangar
has been
1.
expanded. It's a large venue, so very comfortable now.
So not only that, you're going to have all the artifacts from,
Yes.
the past, wars and conflicts that's out there.
Out there.
Betsy will be right there. You can see Betsy.
Mesmerized.
You can actually go and climb on Betsy and check her out. So she'll
Awesome.
be right there, and you'll be able to go in and sit in the seats that our young men sat in during World War II and other conflicts. And
I love those pictures that they have, today's pictures with the people sitting in it, and
Yes.
then the one from like going to Vietnam.
yes,
That's just it's like
Absolutely.
eerie.
it is.
It's an eerie feel, but it's something that we need to always remember.
Yes.
Yes.
So, awesome, guys. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Guys, hey, make sure you guys, June 6th, happening out at Estrella Warbird. You have Honor Flight Central Coast. You have Pour Fest happening with all the great wineries here in the North County. They're still looking for veteran-owned wineries to be a part of it. Reach out to Honor Flight Central Coast, and you can get in touch with Lori or Bear. Lori, thanks again for coming on, and appreciate everything you guys are doing
thank
for
you
our
for having
veterans.
us.
For sure.
Greatly appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. As always, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalar Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, MGP Coatings, 1776 Roofing and Gutters, Premier Ag, Trailer Barn, Story Termite Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Angela Hickson Port Photography, Airflow Filter Services, Templeton Heating and Air, and Atascadero Chamber. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you at Pour Fest.
Your home is your castle. It keeps you safe when the weather's rough. But if you're not taking care of your roof, things could get a little wild. 1776 Roofing with RoofMax will fix up the rough spots, treat the shingles, and give it years more life at a fraction of what a new roof costs. At TLC, your roof needs now. Call 805-900-1776.
When it comes to comfort, trust the team that's been keeping the North County homes cozy since 1995. At Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning, they're your hometown pros right here in Templeton. From tune-ups to repairs, remodels to new construction, even duct replacements and attic ventilation, they got you covered. Call your neighbors at 805-434-3741. Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning. Local, trusted, dependable.
Hi, I'm Glenn McWilliams.
And I'm Annie. As sixth-generation farmers, we understand what it takes to keep a ranch, a farm, and a community growing strong.
And that's why we started Premier Ag to bring quality feed, trusted Western wear, and real service to the Central Coast.
From hay delivery across the county to hands-on support for local youth and ag programs, we're proud to give back to the community that raised us.
And when we say from seed to stable, we mean it. We've walked the fields, we've fed the animals, and now we're here to serve families just like yours.
Come visit us at 1041 Paso Robles Street in Paso Robles and experience the difference of a store built by farmers for farmers.
From seed to store, where quality meets country.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Looking for a top quality concrete coating in SLO County? Hi, I'm Matt Gifford with MGP Coatings, your trusted local expert in durable, long-lasting concrete coatings backed by Pentec's limited lifetime warranty. Whether it's residential or commercial, we deliver expert craftsmanship, premium products, and unbeatable customer service. When we say we make concrete great again, we mean it. As a locally owned, community-driven company, we take pride in transforming garages, patios, pool decks, wineries, and even interior spaces into stunning, functional areas. Are you ready to upgrade your space? Give us a call at 805-952-5301. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or visit mattgiffordpainting.com. Join the MGP Coating family today.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.